56 points is what I got in game week 1. Let's see how my team looks like for game week 2. But before we get started, make sure you guys like the video, comment your thoughts on my team, subscribe to the channel, and remember, turn the notification bell on, otherwise I'll be angry and you don't want that to happen.
Okay, so let's start with my defense and keeper situation. In defense, the one I'm most happy about is Cucurella. 8 points in game week 1. Managed to pick up 2 bonus points, which is great. And I'll be honest, the positions he was picking up were so good from an FPL point of view. And as a Cucurella owner, I am very happy. He was almost playing as a number 8 at times. And sometimes he was even the final line of attack, which is great from an FPL point of view. And I'll be honest, attacking returns will definitely be coming in the future for Cucurella. And hopefully we'll start off on Friday when he has West Ham away. West Ham looked a shambles in game week 1. There's a lot of pressure on Graham Potter, but from an FPL point of view, I'm hoping Chelsea can keep a clean sheet, and I'm very confident, I'll be honest. The next one, Dubravka in goal. I'll be honest, this is a bit of a toss-up between Dubravka and Sells. Dubravka on paper has the easier fixture against Sunderland at home, but we do know Burnley are not... Listen, they had a great defensive record last year in the Championship, but we also did see them concede 3 to Spurs on the weekend, and I'll be honest, the only reason I'm going to go with Dubravka over Sells is because I don't want to put all my eggs in that Nottingham Forest basket. And Nottingham Forest, we're going to talk about it, have Crystal Palace, which is not the easiest fixtures. Even though Crystal Palace might be losing Eze, we know Sarr, Mateta, Munoz, they potentially could have Bilal or Canoes from Leicester on the weekend as well if he signs in time. So they do have that attacking quality to cause Nottingham Forest problems, even though Nottingham Forest are the better defence. So, I don't want to double up on a Nottingham Forest defence, which is why I'm going to lean towards the Dubravka. Marilla, I'll be honest, he didn't pick up as many defensive contribution points that I would have hoped. He only got 5, but listen, it's a long season. I still trust Marilla in defence. And I've gone with Chris Richards. This is another one where, listen, it is a bit of a toss-up. I've seen some people play Pedro Porro over him, because Pedro Porro, we saw it against Bayern Munich in pre-season, did pick up the defensive contribution points. And we know with Spurs as well, they're probably going to play a back 3. Porro will probably be higher up. So could there be a chance of attacking return? Potentially. But this is another one. Chris Richards, the first weekend, I think got 8 defensive contribution points. I'll be honest. From this Nottingham Forest Crystal Palace game, I'm just hoping for a 0-0. And more of my defenders can get defensive contribution points, ending the game with 8. That's my biggest hope. But let's see what happens. Let's go into my midfield.
Okay, so let's look at my midfield. The first person to talk about is Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. In game week 1, did pick up 6 points, which is nice. Got an assist, was 1 defensive contribution away from hitting that 12 threshold, which would have given him an extra 2 points, which is so frustrating as an Elliot Anderson owner. But what can you do? Crystal Palace is the game in game week 2, and I'll be honest, this is a fixture that I'm hopeful he does pick up those defensive contribution points. Because one thing I did realise in game week 1 was those games that are sort of played on a break, the Liverpool-Bournemouth game, for example, you are sometimes likely to just clean up with ball recoveries. And that's something that Van Dijk done very well against Bournemouth. So that's where we know the threat Palace have on the break with the likes of Sarr, Eze if he's still there, or Bilal Canoes. So hopefully, Elliot Anderson kind of just sweeps out those ball recoveries and gets that 12 threshold to pick up those 2 extra points. The next 2, I'm going to talk about them together, Salah and Gakpo. Especially Gakpo, I was very impressed with in game week 1, by the way, against Bournemouth. Got a goal, very nicely taken goal. But I'll be honest, going into game week 2, I'm a bit less sure on them. And the reason being is Newcastle and Eddie Howe. One thing we even saw last year, that Eddie Howe 4-5-1 defensive block is very hard to break down. We even saw Liverpool face it last year in the Carabao Cup final and they struggled. But Liverpool are the best attack in the league. Salah, Gakpo, Wirtz, Ekatike, who looked brilliantly in game week 1. They have the best chance of any single side in the Premier League to break them down. But it is a fixture where you're probably not expecting many returns from those 2 if you have them, or even Salah and Wirtz if you have them. So I'm not that confident in them, but listen, I don't want to waste a transfer. I'm still very happy with owning them going forward. So let's see. The next player is Palmer. Palmer currently is my captain, but I'll be honest, it is a bit of a toss-up with someone I'm going to talk about later. The only reason being, I was not impressed with Palmer's position that he picked up for Chelsea in the opening weekend. One thing we saw in the Club World Cup was when he's in that right area or that right channel, he is so much more effective. And I think when Enzo plays a bit deeper, Enzo's the right 10, Palmer's almost like the left 10 in possession. I don't think Palmer has the same effect from an FPL point of view, which we need really in terms of picking up points. So that is one area that I am concerned with. And we even saw Palmer towards the back end of last season. I think he only has one open play goal in the Premier League, which is not the best, especially considering Palmer's quality that he has. So that's one area that I want to keep an eye on, but I don't want to make that transfer or be knee-jerk just yet in terms of maybe bringing in a Saka or downgrading somewhere else. So it is a bit of a concern, but at the same time, West Ham away. West Ham looked shocking in game week 1. Graham Potter's Canadian manager under a lot of pressure. I'm hoping Palmer can give me returns, and I need it, especially against West Ham, if he's my captain. The next player, Njai, I'll be honest, this is a position I am kind of concerned with going forward. Obviously, against Leeds, he looked, I'll be honest, poor from an FPL point of view. I think he picked up an expected goal involvement of 0.02, which is obviously not great, which basically means he done nothing from an FPL point of view. But at the same time, we still need to give Everton probably time to settle into that new attacking lineup. We saw Grealish come on as well. When Grealish did come on, and Jad did not play in the number 10 role that some people might have expected. He played on the right hand side. I think Alcaraz came off. So that is something that we do need to keep an eye on. But at the same time, this is Everton's first game in the Premier League in the new stadium. The crowd are going to be up for it. Hopefully Njai's up for it. He also still has penalties. Brighton at home is not a terrible fixture. Hopefully he can get me attacking returns. Otherwise, this is someone that I would be looking to transfer out very soon.
Okay, so let's look at my attack now. The first player, João Pedro. The fixture's too good for me to transfer him out before against West Ham. But I'll be honest, as a João Pedro owner, I am very concerned. All the concerns that we had going into the season with João Pedro, I think we saw them in game week 1, and that was minutes. I think he only got 72 minutes on the opening weekend against Crystal Palace, which is not great, because the man that came on was Liam Delap, and that is something that I think will be a constant theme throughout the season, which is why I was a bit unsure picking João Pedro, but it was more of an ownership play, and I'll be honest, I am slightly regretting that. I do wish I went with someone else, which I'll discuss a bit later on in this video, but listen, this fixture's too good for me to transfer him out before. João Pedro will be staying in my team for now. The next person, this is where I have a bit of a toss-up with captaincy, and that is Ollie Watkins. He has Brentford away. Brentford, new manager with Keith Andrews, first time being a manager. They did not look great on the opening weekend against Nottingham Forest. They conceded 3. I think a lot of people will say Aston Villa didn't look great at the same time against Newcastle, but as I said, Newcastle are very, very hard to break down when Eddie Howe sets up that team like he did on the weekend. And one thing that I think didn't help Ollie Watkins was the environment around him. The 3 behind Ollie Watkins was Tielemans in the 10, McGinn and Rodgers out wide, which I don't think is the most suitable. I think Ollie Watkins lacked that runner just there to support him, to help break down that block on Newcastle, just to help him generate more chances and shots. And I don't think Aston Villa and Unai Emery will play the same 3 behind Ollie Watkins on the weekend against Brentford, which is why I'm hoping Ollie Watkins does get more attacking opportunities. And one thing we do know, Ollie Watkins' record against Brentford is very, very good. I think in 7 games he has 6 goals. So there is a constant theme of Ollie Watkins scoring against his former club in Brentford. So hopefully that could be the same. But at the same time, the only reason I'm leaning towards with Palmer captaincy is just because I don't have guarantees of the 3 behind Ollie Watkins. If I knew Donyell Marlon will play, or the new signing from Nice will play out wide, I think I might lean towards Ollie Watkins. But for now, I'm going to stick with Cole Palmer. Let me know down below what you think. And let's look at my transfer plans going into game week 2. Okay, so the first transfer that I have in mind, probably not for this game week, is Njai to Reinders. Reinders, we saw the impact he made on the weekend. And for me, it was more about the position that he picked up. In position, 8 Nouri was like a left centre-back for Manchester City. Bernardo Silva, Nico Gonzalez just slightly in front, a bit deeper for Bernardo Silva. And then Reinders just had that license to attack the box. We saw the goal that he scored was brilliantly taken. And listen, if he continues to be platformed by Pep Guardiola just like he did against Wolves, he has to be a lock in everyone's team. But for now, I'm a bit unsure, just because one thing with Reinders, he's such a good footballer, and we saw it in the Club World Cup. Reinders was the one collecting the ball from the back line. If that is the role that Pep sometimes sees him in, we're going to lose that attacking potential from Reinders, which is a bit of a shame. So this is something where I just want to gather a bit more information. Let's see the position that Reinders takes up against Tottenham. If it is the same, then listen, we might have to bring in Reinders in. But for now, I just want to keep it on hold, gather another week of information and see. Okay, so the next transfer on my mind probably won't make it again this weekend is João Pedro to Evan Nilsson. I already spoke about the concerns I had with João Pedro. The minutes, 70th minute sub for Liam Delap is going to be a continuous theme throughout the season. I got a feeling. Even Nilsson, on the other hand, Bournemouth, going forward, they cause Liverpool a lot of problems, which is a massive positive from an FPL point of view. And Bournemouth from game week 2 to game week 7 on the fixture difficulty ranking have the second easiest fixtures. So that is something I do want to target. And a lot of people I feel like don't have Bournemouth attackers because of that opening day fixture against Liverpool. A lot of people did not go there with Ivan Nilsson, with Semenyo. So is this a position or an area where I can get in early ahead of people to gain rank? Potentially, but I don't want to move João Pedro before West Ham, which is the only problem. But I do think Bournemouth and Ivan Nilsson will be on my radar going forward. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think of my team. Let me know my transfer plans. If you think I should make them going into this weekend. But listen, make sure you guys like the video, comment your thoughts on my team, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And I'll be back soon.